Alright. Actually,
Alive.
I know, Justin's good.
Hey out there, everybody. It's Dave here from Dave Station VR, and we're getting ready for another episode of the PSVR chat show. We're going to be interviewing the developer for Arca's Path VR, which is a cool little puzzle game. And as always, we've got a really cool stage designed by the artists here that are part of our crew. Dorky the Awkward, Velp, Jimith, and Zelix over there. So Dr. Dave is going to be our developer for the day. So we'll say hi to him in a minute.
Oh, I'm getting designated.
Actually, if you want to say hi to him, here he is.
Cheers, GT. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Hi.
This
This is good that I played this because he just left.
In the rec room with PSVR chat.
It's okay, because Dave's right here.
We can just interview his hologram. Can we just interview his hologram over here?
Hi.
Where are we? Who are you?
In the rec room.
Okay, we're in the rec room.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
Dave, can you do your introduction for me from your Christmas thing over there for me?
I don't know if I can.
I'll wait here. Go on, ready? Pretend to be clipping the leaves. Ready, go. Pound it, sir. Pound it, sir.
You lads with your...
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there.
Pound it.
How did you do that? Did you do that with the Christmas thing?
Well, yeah, no one's seen it yet. He's referencing something that literally nobody knows about.
I've not watched it.
Oh, guys, you know what?
He's all wearing the jumpers.
My chat comments weren't working last time, so I wonder if that's the case again. I might not be able to see anybody's chat comments.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Problem.
Well, guys, if you're out there watching, my chat's not working as of last night, so we'll see how this goes, but should be a good show regardless. Hopefully you guys will stick around and watch. Or if you want to interact, I'll just talk like this. If you guys want to interact, you can actually go to GamerTag stream. Oh, wait. No, it's working. It's working. It's working. It just took people a while to show up, I think. Excellent.
I haven't had a single comment yet. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I just got mine too. Was it a Hobbit?
I just got mine.
But yeah, once we have Jules and
Cannon, you're back. What's up?
Here, we could have 4 streamers.
Oh, yeah.
And once I figure out my
Hello, mate. You alright?
4 recordings.
So what happened to the developer, though?
Yeah.
What's that? Where's that guy we're supposed to interview?
This is incredible. Look at the
He just
detail.
disappeared.
God Cannon.
Hi.
Here he is.
This is Dave.
Oh, God.
Welcome to
Everyone
Arca's
else?
Path in the rec room with PSVR chat. Yay! Okay, I'm done.
This is the PSVR chat show.
Those were his final words. Never to be seen again. Hey, how's it going, Ryan?
Actually over there.
All right, so we got a good crowd here today. Danish, wish you could be here, man, but next
Yeah,
time.
I wish Danish was here.
So we got a great crowd.
Good drop.
We got God Cannon, GamertagVR, the host, as always. Jason the Livinator, producer behind the scenes, man. Jimith, apparently going to do some kind of musical. I don't know. It's got something to do with the music.
There was something going on.
Okay. Justin, of course, of Juffed. How do you say that? Juffed Incredible, because it's a 5?
Incredible. Yep.
Juffed Incredible. It is Arca's Path. Look at this positively, beautifully rendered little visor, although you can't see through it. But it does stick to your face, so...
It's the coolest thing in the world.
It looks cool. Looks cool for everybody else. Hold on, let me put it on you.
It's really good.
Put it on
me
Chad,
on
yeah.
Me on!
Ah, got him. Got him. Anyways, that wasn't done. We've also got Dorky, Velp, and Zelix, who helped put all this together.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
As
look at
always,
that.
look at the
Under
artistry
funds.
on display
Hey.
here. Look at this fucking stage.
No, he's off.
Oh, I mean,
this is
sorry,
incredible.
GT, are you streaming? I'm gonna stop cursing.
Yeah, I'm not, mate.
I didn't hear
I'm
nothing.
streaming, dude.
Okay.
Good to go.
This is a beautiful level.
There
The
it is.
clouds and
It's
everything.
even more beautiful when you can't see it with the visor on. Cause
Yeah, right?
Cause then
Well,
when
that's because
you
we're
take
living it for you, Justin. We're living it for you. When you put the visor on.
Just says he's in the dorm room right
He's
now.
hopping. I love it.
Oh.
It's truly
Well,
amazing. The
that is
clouds are so
impressive,
like
Dave.
They look fluffy.
He's got moves,
really
man.
Cool.
We've got a technical issue. He's got moves. Look at that.
And the Arca's
it just says he's in the
avatars,
doorway.
like
A little bit this way, a little bit that way, a
Really
little bit this way.
Maybe I had to disappear for a second.
Any word on Dr. Dave? Because I definitely titled this Arca's Path developer interview, and I don't see one of those guys around here.
Yeah, same.
This is Dave. Welcome to Arca's Path in the Rec Room with PSVR chat. Yay!
Oh, he's back.
Yes, I am on
I'm
VR.
done.
Virtual reality.
Maybe he meant he was done with the whole thing. He just came to record that, and he's done.
On the PlayStation.
He's not coming back.
Calling it the PSVR chat show either.
He said that's
PSVR chat.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, mate, this is Rec Room, dude.
One of these days, I'll start streaming at the right time when the show's about to start, instead of just us dicking around for 10 minutes beforehand. This is how it goes, guys. This is the green room. This is what every talk show is like backstage before. Yeah, everybody's running and jumping. Everybody's just running and jumping.
If you stick your head in the trees, you can see the clouds change color.
Hey, there's Dr. Dave.
There you go, see?
Oh.
If you hold your trigger down, you can make a fist, and then that'll team us up here. So you
Oh, are we all? We gotta all team up.
There we
go.
Good to go. Yeah, you're getting paid.
Oh, look at that. He's getting presents.
I think everybody's good. Everybody got the red.
I think so. Yeah, did I get you?
Tokens.
Yeah,
there we are.
we're good to go. Yeah, you got your red. We'll do it anyways, just in case. Yeah,
Token.
All right, so
you're good.
Red.
Oh, he's so strong.
GT, you gonna do an official intro for us here? Or?
Oh, we'll do when we get to the show, man.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, we'll wait till the... All right,
Do enjoy that intro.
All right.
I'm hyped.
Off to the second room.
This is great.
Here we go.
Oh wait, we're going now. But guys,
This room already looks
in the chat, look one more time at this beautiful room that we're in right
I
now.
know.
Don't forget its splendor. Never forget. All right, let's continue. New notification.
Circle of splendor.
We're moving along. All right, so every time we do these PSVR chat shows, they hook up some crazy stages in Rec Room beforehand, based on the game that we're interviewing the developer from. So if you're not familiar with this before and it's your first time, this is Arca's Path, and the stage is looking pretty... Whoa!
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God! I'm inside of everyone.
Oh, nice. I'm inside. Whoa, dude.
I just can't move. I can't move.
Oh, man,
This is incredible, though. This is incredible. The ball is moving? Does that happen on its own?
Oh my
I can't even
gosh!
move.
No,
wow.
Dr. Dave's moving.
Dave is controlling it.
Wow.
Just move like a
Wait,
joystick. If
you
tip
can
forward,
control
it?
it?
Will move forward.
Are you kidding?
Oh, okay, right.
You guys are insane. How did you do that?
What? You got joysticks to do that?
Yeah, he is. Was it nice?
So cool! Look at that.
Oh man.
Because we can't actually do the stuff with the head in here because it doesn't work that way. But this is as close as we can get.
See, this is what your game could have been like if you guys used a traditional joystick.
I'm trying to work. I actually am struggling to make it work. Can somebody else do it? Does anybody know how?
Seems to be
Yeah, somebody
pretty
who knows
I
the
feel
ropes
like
here.
better
Someone
than
else
I
wants
could
to give it
do
a shot.
Please, let me realign it.
Somebody else want to give it a go? I'm going to
Yeah,
pass on the baton.
Are there any parts where you can fall off?
Let's see what we
Visually,
got.
this is incredible.
This is spot
And
on. This is like perfectly rendered.
That's just like
Perfectly
it's
rendered.
from the game. Like that's how good it
These
was.
guys are
It's
insane.
like a mini golf course of Arca's Path.
I was thinking that too, actually. Yeah, I was thinking that.
Let's go.
I gotta still have to tweak that a little bit.
Man.
Hard to grab.
Wait, so does GT? Do you know if something happens if the ball gets all the way over here? Yeah. Does it?
I don't know.
Are we gonna have to sit here and wait for somebody to move the ball all the way over here?
This is
We may have to restore.
Yeah, the ball, I can't grab it anymore.
Can you grab it
yeah.
physically and
It's
just move
weird.
it somewhere?
No, the joystick. You should be able to grab the joystick.
Is it a case of there's too many of us in here? Or?
Maybe.
Could be. Could be just.
If you want, we can go back to the original room and like two come in at a time or something.
I think just a simple restore, and we could have you run through
This is
itself if
GT
you
says
want.
she loves your new look, Dorky.
Let's try restore. It was working
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
whoa.
Take two.
Well, looks like Dave broke it.
But he is part of the show and he helped make the script.
Huh?
But he can't be with us due to family issues.
All right. welcome back.
Here we go. Look at that.
Here we are.
Is that working the way it's supposed to?
Yeah.
More or less.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey, let's watch it go. Look at her go.
Go. Come on, place your bet. Come on, Bill.
Always bet on red, people.
$5.
On what?
Always bet on red.
What are the options here? Can he make it to the next part?
Yeah.
We'll see. Oh, nobody bet on that.
What?
Falling off the side of the stage.
Bet on that.
Hang on a second. Did somebody grab a trigger zone?
What?
Trigger zone? Someone's in trouble. No trigger zone of any.
Never heard
What
of
is that?
Or maybe I did.
Justin,
That's not so hard.
I know. I'm trying to press any
Wait,
button.
I don't think I can get past. There's like an invisible wall here or something. I can move left and right
Oh,
just
hang on
fine.
a
I can
second.
move backwards just fine. Well, sort of.
Very cool.
That's
He's
amazing.
gonna
That's
make the
looking
ball
up.
noise.
There's some sort of something stopping my progress when I get
that's the
right
one.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I go
Fixing that
around
real
it?
quick.
Some of the settings changed, so hang on 1 second.
It sure is dreamy in here.
So is this what designing Arca's path was like?
It's just like this. It's
Exactly like this.
Trial and error, Dave.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
That's
You get to relive the whole process.
Oh,
I think we lost Dorky, but she's coming back.
Who's
I've got back
Gizmos?
in
Good
there.
to go? Okay. We should be
Gizmos.
Mr.
That's how
Gizmos?
things
should be all set to go.
He's fixing it.
I gotta say once again, the skyline with those clouds is just really nice to look at.
Sky's beautiful.
Really like looking at that.
Yeah, so
Do you know that song by The Orb? With
Yeah.
It's got Ricky Lee Jones, like little
Fluffy clouds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great song.
Oh, it's working. There we go.
I went to Arizona recently.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was
it's
doing
working,
basically-
but
and in that
somebody
song,
changed
she
all the
talked about
settings on
clouds
this.
In Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Let's go, Bob. Let's go.
everyone thought it was a made-up person, but the sample ended up being Ricky Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, I
just
so
thought,
want to have a
um,
go on this.
Such a good song. Such a good song. I like the Orb.
Hey
I like
out
the
there,
Orb.
everybody in chat. I think I missed a couple comments there, but
when I left, this
thanks for
was
tuning in,
working
guys. This
properly, but
is
for
really
some
cool
reason
what they've
now,
set up
they're all
here.
clear
And
to
in a minute,
zones.
we're going to be interviewing Dr. Dave over here. Got some cool questions for him, so stick around.
it's
Oh, I think he's going to make it.
He's gonna make it.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Yeah, trigger zones changed. 1 second.
Right.
Oh no!
I don't think that was any. Yeah, I
made
don't think
it.
that was any of our doing.
Was there supposed to be fireworks?
Something.
Blue team scores.
Oh, there he goes. All right, who bet on blue team? Anybody bet on blue team?
Oh, you have the speed set way too low.
Blue team, all right, blue team.
Oh my god.
Let's try 100.
So, I'm like, what's happening to me?
There we go.
All right. Wow, I'm
flying.
outside
There
this.
we go.
I'm outside this. I didn't mean to
How do you
fly.
fly?
This looks really cool.
It wasn't intentional. Oh wow.
So hold your move
Mini
button
golf.
with your hand in the
This
air.
might be the first
And you'll be able to
legit
fly.
mini golf game in VR.
There it
Hold the
is.
move button.
Somebody
Yeah,
grab the door.
There you go.
Where is the door, by the way? I was looking around for the door here.
We'll fix it afterwards.
I feel taller now.
What? Where's he going?
Yeah,
Where
go
is
on.
it?
Oh, there we go.
Where's the door? Oh, there's.
Oh,
Hello.
there's a door.
It says not active though, which means we shouldn't go.
Not active.
No, that's
Should we go through it anyways? We'll see what happens.
Dave, go
Yeah,
careful.
we'll get there. We'll get
I
there.
want to see what
Be
happens.
careful, Dave. You don't know where that
All
door
right,
will take you.
send me an invite. I'll see what happens. Oh, I can't go. Ah, it's eating me. It's eating me. Hold on.
It's gravity.
Oh my
Blue
God!
team
We're gonna
scores.
kill everyone.
Is this part of the GC? Get
It's
out.
Takeshi's castle.
I know, Goldmaster.
It's
Takeshi's.
Oh. Give her all she's got. Come on, lads! Stop the door! Stop the door! Get back into it, Dave.
Hold it back. Put you back into it.
Okay.
Hold the door.
That was. I love Rec Room. God, I love Rec Room. All right, we're hopping into the next room, guys.
That is a good one.
That was really fun.
Is this how we want the camera set up?
Ooh, hello.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Do you know where?
This is not bad.
Wait. Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, so
Like
the
here, maybe?
Dr. Dave isn't just a fun name. He's a real doctor over here.
The
This guy.
amount of detail.
Right.
That's pretty exciting. This game that we're... What is what called? Rec Room? This is Rec Room.
There. Oh, where?
Yeah, yeah, we could be over here.
Does anyone know who Goldmaster is? Anyone know who Goldmaster
you guys
is?
made this official?
Somebody's saying, can you add me to the chat? I'm like, I don't know if I can, because I don't think you're supposed to be on the show.
No, is it frowny?
I don't know. It's not frowny.
Yeah, I'm getting loads of like, okay, we can.
So, guys, we lost the doctor. I don't see the doctor.
Yeah, I sent him another invite when he went back to the dorm room.
Oh, gotcha.
He is now coming in right now. I'll be honest, this is the most beautiful one yet.
It's really, really nice.
This is absolutely...
Yeah, it's really like...
That's fine. I really...
Thank you.
These little details on the lettering, like, come on. Guys, it's incredible.
It's incredible. Have you got a camcorder? I'm on film! I'm on film!
GT. All right, so what order are we sitting in? I think you're... Oh, there's Dave. Dr. Dave.
No, just wherever you want. I can't get over how amazing this is. But obviously, you guys have the best view sitting there of them. Wow. So.
I feel like it's...
because I'm left-handed, I'm going to sit on the left. Is that all right?
He's taking pictures. Yeah.
This is amazing. This is incredible.
Yeah. Wow.
I can't believe it. It's amazing. Look at my chair. Look at the head. Look at the table. Look at that. Gamertag's favorite part of these.
Yeah, it's customary at the beginning of the chat show to just marvel at everything for about 20 minutes.
That's half the show right there.
Yeah.
So true.
Why isn't that working? Okay.
Oh, hey.
Oh, there's the door. Okay, I simply can't help it.
Dave, am I on the chair?
You are sort of on the chair. Yeah, you're on the chair.
If you
close enough.
back up just a little bit, you'll be like chilling in the chair. Yeah, you're chilling.
There you go. Having a recline. I think I'm standing above it.
So how we doing, guys? We all good?
I meant to tell Danish last time he was on the floor. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Looks like Dave's feeling lonely there.
Who, me? I feel just fine. I'm doing just fine. Oh, thank you, Dirk. Hey.
No one sit with Uncle Dave during the holidays.
So Dave, you all good? I have noticed he hasn't said a word since he's been here.
Yeah, his voice isn't coming through.
Yeah, I don't think his voice
Yeah,
is
we
working.
can't hear you if you're talking.
I heard him previously, but...
Oh, no. Dr. Dave.
So, what you can do is look at your watch and go into the cog at the top right of your main menu. Go into audio and see if that bar at the bottom right, it should say my microphone on.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is.
Yay.
All right.
That's it.
Technical difficulty.
Great. Okay,
Welcome
hello,
back.
everyone.
Hey.
Hey, that's Dr. Dave.
There he is. How you doing, man?
Oh, very good. And just so you know, just behind me, in the real world, is my son, who is...
Oh, fantastic.
Oh.
He's perfectly aware of swearing, so it's fine.
Well, Gamertag likes to keep it clean, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep it clean anyway.
Well, yeah, of course.
So, yeah, Dave, would you like to take... Do you want to... You got your lovely chair there, man, if you want to sit in it.
Is there anything to just teleport to it?
Yep, should be good. Oh, he's inside of it, but close.
That's
That
good
is
enough.
awesome.
Yep.
He's
Dave,
part of the chair.
You alright, Dave, yeah?
He might have.
Oh, no. Jeez. One of these days we're going to interview a developer in here, guys. One of these days.
Thank you very much, Noah.
Welcome back to the pre-show of the PSVR chat show.
It's normally not like this.
A behind-the-scenes look.
It's really easy. That's surprising.
That's entirely true.
Yeah, that's a
I just
full
love
Yeah.
this rec room for
Jen
that
from
reason.
Arca,
It's great.
fell through the floor.
Yeah, that's true. That's a silly...
This is where I take a swig of whiskey.
Yeah, well, we literally finished that room right.
Today has been a
when
very
the
long
show
day at
started.
work.
And then
And after this is done, I
transpose,
have to
we
go
had
back to work.
the door
But
issue.
don't tell my boss I took a
New
swig of whiskey.
reality.
I'll be
It
fine.
happens. You can't avoid it.
Yes, Joystick, he really is a doctor according to that name tag over there.
Yeah, he is.
And name tags never lie.
So,
No.
you know,
No,
if
absolutely not.
you've got a pain in your gut, or something. You know, we can ask him about that.
Or your
I don't know
butt.
if he's that kind of doctor.
Oh my god.
At least
Can ask
we have
him
some
about
nice
that.
calming music by Jimmy while we wait.
It's oh, that was Jimmy.
Chilling,
Oh, dude,
weird
that's awesome.
ambient stuff. It's hard to do the music for this game because it's so
So
vast
how do you do
and
that? How do you do the music in this
random.
game? Do you build it with instruments that are in Rec
Yeah,
Room,
I've
or
always
do you
wondered how
just import it?
into here.
It's just so obviously I played the game, so I know what the sounds are. But then it's like, right, now I've got to try and recreate it. And the person that made the soundtrack for this game is an intelligent person, and it's not just like one sound or 2 or 3 sounds. It's a lot of.
Well, it seems
intricate stuff.
generative to me. Like it's kind of based on what you're doing in the game too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It triggers up action point. That's why I've got parts going up and down and stuff. But it's felt that managed to get to loop. But yeah, basically things trigger in and out, and then like when you get a tension moment, then maybe the actual rolling sound effect of the ball kind of ties into the track as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
I love the sound,
And-
by the way. It sounds
Oh yeah,
amazing.
it's great. It sounds fantastic in the
My
game.
chair. It's got flowers underneath it.
It's nuts. Do you know what, GT? How much do they look
Yeah,
like the umbongo flowers?
The what?
The umbongo.
Well, can you
Umbongo.
hit them and they make a bongo?
No. The umbongo
Oh.
juice. Remember the juice?
Goldmaster,
I'm
I haven't been able to
Bongo.
keep up with the
Yeah.
comments, honestly. It's kind of
I was
hard during
gonna
these
square
chat shows
that,
to keep
yeah.
up with everything.
Yeah.
Because
I'll take a look afterwards,
Umbongo.
but
Oh,
yeah, if anybody's
Umbongo.
commenting during the stream, I'm sorry if I miss you.
Umbongo.
Once it gets started up for real
Umbongo.
here, I definitely won't be able to respond to comments, so... Although I will keep an eye out for questions, because we might have a chance to ask him questions at the end. So I can totally do that if we have an option. Oh, you're talking about joystick. Okay, sweet.
Dave, look at the sky now. There's a big
The only
blue
thing is,
circle in
right,
the-
we're all here, so I'm thinking maybe it isn't us. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I think it's the
No, it's
update.
Ooh, I got a new
We're
notification.
in trouble today.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Hey,
Dr.
he's
Dave is
Dr.
back.
Dave.
Back.
Nice.
Yeah,
Where is
sorry,
he?
it's Rex having all kind of
There he
trouble
is.
today.
Yeah, Rec Room's having issues.
Stay away from that chair.
I think to be honest, I think it's my internet connection.
Oh, really?
Behind it now. Yeah, but we shut a door, but we've opened the door. I think that's
Okay.
a bit better.
Oh no. That's what it's all
All right,
about,
so
man.
let's,
Keep the
uh,
doors
Yeah,
open.
you got
We gotta-
Yeah, you got open the doors.
We gotta ask the questions as quick as we can before the internet cuts out again. So let's...
Right, Dave, if you're happy, I'm
Yeah,
going to make
I'm
a
happy.
start. So what's up, everybody, and welcome to the PSVR chat show. This show is your show for inside developer information and to spread the love of virtual reality gaming. Allow me to start off by introducing everyone. My name is GT from GamertagVR, and joining us today to talk about his career within the gaming industry and the studio's first VR game, Arca's Path, which is available now on PSVR and PCVR, is Dave Ranyard from Dream Reality Interactive. Woo! Oh,
Hi.
what are you doing?
I'm clapping, but it doesn't make any sounds.
On the sofas in front of me, we have some of your favourite YouTube content creators. We've got Justin from Just Incredible
Hi.
VR, God Cannon from PSVR Underground. What's that?
Hi.
Dave Station from Dave Station VR.
Very good.
We also have your
Great
super
name.
squad of Rec Room and Master
Thanks,
Builders.
Dave.
We've got Jason Liven, who is also the show's producer and backbone.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Dorky
Hi,
the
Jason.
Awkward, with her new look. Very nice.
Hi.
Jules is not present, I believe. We've got Zelex. Cool.
Hello.
We've got Velp. Hey.
Hello. King Velp.
We haven't got clarity here, and we've got a musical maestro, the man that can apparently make ladles sing, Jimmy Jammer.
I've yet to try that. I've yet to try that.
You've got to try it, dude. Yeah, man. So, Dave, how are you today? You all good?
Yeah, very good. I actually finished for Christmas today, so
Oh, fantastic.
I've got a couple
Oh,
of things
excellent.
to do tomorrow, but I'm going to start relaxing a bit.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well done. Zelix, did I introduce you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
You
Oh,
did.
right. Sorry, I thought I missed you. Sorry, man. Sorry. Yeah, so I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for joining us today, because it's a superb opportunity for the VR community to hear firsthand what goes into bringing VR games like Arca's Path to PSVR. That's what this is all about. So thank you for joining us.
All right. So do you want me to tell you a bit about how we got to Arca's Path?
So what I'm going to do
Yeah.
is I'm going to ask you about your background in your gaming industry,
Okay.
because I've heard you're involved in some projects at Sony in the past, and I'd like to
Yeah.
know how you got to this point to having your own development studio.
Yeah, it's taken a while. I first started making video games in '97, working for a company called Psygnosis that made Lemmings and
Oh man,
Wipeout.
yeah.
Heard of that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hold on, didn't they also do the wrecking game as well? What's the first? Destruction Derby.
Yeah.
So you've been in
And,
games
I also-
where stuff falls off a ledge potentially a lot of the time.
Yeah. And I also
That's
worked
it.
on a game called Colony Wars.
Yeah, I was on the
It's
PlayStation
kind of like
as well.
it's like a Star Warsy, but not Star Wars game. But it was pretty good fun. So I was a programmer to start with. I did computer science and I did a PhD in AI 20 years ago, and then joined Psygnosis. And then in '99 I moved from their Leeds studio to London, and I was a coder there for a while. I basically stayed there, and I went from coder to audio manager to creative services to running SingStar. Does anybody remember SingStar?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
So, apologies for that.
That was Christmas, yeah.
And actually, before that, does anyone remember The Getaway?
Yes.
Of course.
Had its
I played
16th
that.
birthday just last week, and I wrote the
Wow.
audio engine for that.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
man. So you're a bit
That
of a
was
You're a bit of a god, really. Gaming god.
well,
man.
I was only the audio guy on it, but that was interesting project, pretty hardcore to be honest.
Yeah, that was. That was an actual real map of London, wasn't it?
Real map of London. I mean, it was intense. What it did at the time, because prior to that, you would have to stop and load the next set of streets or something. The first game that really did this seamless loading, which was massive at the time. Also, first game not to have an OSD. There's no like score or anything, and even there was no map. I mean, it was like naive, and the way it told you how to go is the indicators on the car would turn on to tell you which way to go. A little bit simple. A lot of script as well. But that was an interesting project. And then from that, I did a lot of audio work because I've been a musician in the past as well. So I built the audio studios for Sony, and then we started making more. Like couch social games. So we made iToy Play, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
AR game. And then SingStar. SingStar was massive. I mean, it did like 200 different versions of the game.
That's crazy.
To go back to the iToy, what was your favourite game in the iToy? I've got to ask, sorry, what was your favourite?
It's probably Wishy Washy.
Yeah.
It's just such a simple concept. And it was fun.
That one and the ninjas.
At the time I was running the audio department, so I was on the same floor as those guys, so we saw them quite a lot and we did music and sound effects for them, but I wasn't in like the core development team. But what they told me about that, which was really interesting, was they had like a proper eureka moment where it was about 9 o'clock at night and they were doing something, because originally that game wasn't augmented reality, it was just using a camera to control the game. And they had this eureka moment where, like, oh, hang on a minute, if we see you on screen, it's a bit like when you walk up in front of a shop, you know, and they've got the TVs. And that was like a fun moment. And then just watching somebody trying to do something was like a sort of I guess like a generation game or something like that. So it was a lot of fun in that studio with all that stuff happening. It was super creative, you know.
I already did Candy Cane
back in 2002 and stuff. And then SingStar was all about making microphones, which was kind of insane. Like, there was no karaoke in the West then, so the idea of getting people to sing at home to their TV set just seemed nuts. and then because I'd got the music background, I helped them set up the music licensing department. So we sort of went out and found all the music, and all that stuff happened. And then I was working on SingStar about 4 years, and then there was a project called Wonder Book, and this was this weird augmented reality book, and we had this deal with Rowling, and this game needed to ship in a year, and so they asked me to produce it, so I did, and that was amazing as well because I got to work with her, which was really cool. Super interesting project. We met her a few times. She's really nice. She wrote new content for it. It was a little bit ahead of its time, I think, because it was like this book and this move controller and the camera. There was quite a lot of moving parts. But what it actually did was pretty good fun, you know, and a lot of kids liked it and people liked it. And
this guy is crazy. He's done everything. He met J.K. Rowling.
That studio.
He made
Sony's
Lemmings.
London studio. And
weird.
we pivoted to VR.
Really cool.
And that was
and he's
like
also
2012.
a doctor. All right, let's
and
continue.
The interesting bit was, so we'd made this Wonder Book which used the PlayStation camera on PlayStation 3, and we had this great plan to move that to PlayStation 4 because the camera for PlayStation 4 was going to be in the box.
Yeah.
So on PlayStation 3, you maybe had 10% of the PlayStations had a camera.
Yeah.
PlayStation 4, they were all going to have a camera, which was brilliant. And then, do you remember the sort of big fight between Xbox One and PlayStation 4? And there was like, people were frustrated that the Kinect camera was in the box for Xbox One.
Well, because of the price, didn't it? They knocked £100 off the price by taking it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So PlayStation took the camera out. So we were like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What was interesting was there was this kind of weird thing that some people that we knew had been making, which was, I'm not joking, it was a cycling helmet with a move controller strapped to the top.
Right.
And this like a mobile phone stuck in front of it, which then turned into the PlayStation headset.
Oh, that's
so
really?
We were like, actually, that's pretty interesting.
That's crazy.
That was like happening inside Sony. It was just nuts.
Wow.
So Project Morpheus was originally just like a bike helmet? That's insane.
Yeah, there's a photo. I'm sure there's a photo of it, and I don't work for Sony anymore, I can say it. There's like I'm not joking, I remember doing it, and it was a cycling helmet with a move controller on top.
That's incredible.
Just to get some positional tracking.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was I probably did that demo in 2011. And then we'd done lots of this camera technology. So for the Wonder Book, it had these the book had all these AR marks on it. And the blue lights that are on the front of the PlayStation headset are tracked using the same code or similar code library. So from a technical perspective, making those AR games is not that different to making VR games because of the tracking that's required and cameras and all that stuff. But also creatively, if you look at iToy Play or SingStar or Wonderbook, there's one big factor that is in line with a lot of VR games, which is that you're in the game.
Yeah.
And so creatively it was quite interesting as well. So then we went on and basically we made lots of different things for Sony when they were announcing their headset. So there was the Deep, which is now called Ocean Descent. Basically they all came out as VR worlds.
Yeah.
And I was running that studio.
Brilliant.
Really?
And so there was the Deep, there was the Street Luge, there was London Heist, Scavenger's Odyssey, and Danger Ball.
The ball one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's played them.
Everyone's
played them.
Oh, yeah. Everyone.
So we were making all those, but then I basically got a bit of itchy feet. I'd been with Sony for 17 years by then, and I'd gone from right in the menus for a football game through to running the studio, and I was like, I want to do my own studio, and so I left. I took this decision 3 years ago, almost to the day. So I left on actually January the 10th, 2016, but I was obviously thinking about it over the Christmas break. And I just kind of walked out into this weird dark forest of indie, thinking, not knowing really what was going to happen. I didn't have an amazing plan, but just thought, well, VR's interesting, I know a lot about it, I know a lot about development, so let's do it. Hooked up with a few former sort of friends and colleagues, and set up Dream Reality. And then we actually opened on September the 1st, 2016, with 3 of us, and a few other people from Sony joined us. So the guy who'd been the tech director of SingStar, who's a genius, Richard Bates, a lady called Artemis Saflidou, who's a programmer who wrote Danger Ball. She made Danger Ball. She came and she did all the early prototyping on Arca. And we used to make this joke, Artemis can only make games with balls. Which is probably still true. And another guy called Albert, who'd been like the thinking behind London Heist and a lot of that stuff. So we spent a few months just prototyping Arca's Path, and then we got it to a point where it was like we could pitch it, and we were pitching it. But then while we were doing that, we actually took on some other projects. So we did a project with David Attenborough and Sky TV, and that was really cool because I got to meet David Attenborough. Which is I went to Seattle with him for a week.
I'm not doing it.
No, Jimmy. This is your time to shine.
I'm not doing it. He's Meta Man. I can't do it. I'm not doing it.
You've got to do it,
I'm not doing it, Dr. Dave. I'm not doing it.
Please. What? He can do a really good David Attenborough impression.
Oh, go on.
Oh no, I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible.
No, you're not.
Do it.
I need to write. It's
Anyway,
hard to do. Right, you let you continue.
All right, go on.
I'll let you continue.
So I
him on
did
the
get this
spot.
thing where I had dinner with him 6 nights in a row.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool.
Wow.
I bet that
Just-
man's
he's
got
a-
so many stories.
Oh
Like,
my god, it was just amazing. He
Yeah.
said he told me all these. It was when they'd announced the new Doctor Who.
This
And
guy
he
is
said,
crazy.
"Oh, I remember when
feel
the head
like
of
my
children's TV came to me with this idea about
my
a
question
time
is going to seem
traveller."
really boring
He
after
went and
You had all
sketched
these
it out on the
ideas.
back of an envelope
This
in the
guy is like
canteen.
living a charmed life.
Just
It's
insane.
incredible.
That is insane. Like it's crazy.
So we
Yeah,
did all
man.
that while we were kind of pitching Arca, and then towards the end of that, then we found Rebellion, who have been absolutely wonderful. They're kind of 25 years in, or 26 years into making games as an indie studio, so they know what we've been through, and they've been really supportive and helped us. Great to work with them, because it's also meant that we can be multi-platform. Well,
Yeah.
so we're coming out on like 6 or 7 different platforms, which is good. So we finished the Attenborough stuff, and then went into production on Arca's Path, and that was January of this year. We went through sort of production and alpha and beta. Master took a while, more than we expected actually, because we ended up doing more and more headsets. I think we started off thinking we're going to do 3 headsets,
Yeah.
and then we've ended up doing 7. So it's like
What
we'd just
headsets
be
did you
finishing.
get?
Well,
and it wasn't
that
me,
actually-
it was a team. And I felt awful for them to be like, "Hey, we're nearly finished." Well, there's another headset, guys. But part of the thinking of Arca was the thing. I didn't come up with the idea. It was really Artemis and Albert who came up with it. But what I said to them was, what could we do that doesn't use any controllers? Because
Brilliant.
the early days, all the controllers are a bit different. And I think when we were doing it, even the touch controllers for Oculus weren't out. And we knew on PlayStation it was DS4 or Move, and you had to do both. And then on the Gear VR, there was just that little wand. So it's like, well, why don't we take that out completely, and what can we do just not using them? And then I said, why not try a ball? Because Artemis had already done a game with a ball. So then they spent 3 months trying different things, and to start with, they were moving the ball was staying still, and the landscape was moving, which is kind of how Super Monkey Ball works.
Yeah.
But when we tried that, it just didn't feel right. The world didn't feel heavy. It didn't feel real. So we just kept on persevering, and eventually they got the cursor mechanic. And once we'd got that working, it just felt like it was very intuitive. And so we kind of we wanted to make a game as well that anybody could play. So it was, it wasn't just like about hardcore gamers who know how to use a controller, and it wasn't about sort of complex twitch mechanics. It was more natural. But it felt like we got some secret sauce when we first got the controlling the ball by looking around and it following the cursor. And then there was a lot of polish, and again the team did a great job of sort of, because at one time all the landscapes were quite angular, but actually we found that making them a little bit more curved and things was more gentle in terms of comfort and things like that. So there was a lot of work behind the scenes to make it a totally comfortable experience, and so on. And then the mix of like slower gameplay and the more speeded up gameplay partly was actually influenced by early Sonic games. So I can't remember which one it is, but one of the Sonic games, the bonus level is like a half pipe and you're just picking up loads of rings.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's fun. Why don't we have sections like that? And so
those are my favorite
we
parts,
kind of
actually.
just
I love
built it
those
up.
parts.
They're very hard, actually. I think they're really hard. Yeah, go on.
And then I guess in terms of influences, certainly for me, so I did some work on Wipeout 3. I never worked on the actual full game. I did this really weird piece of gameplay. So has anyone here heard of a Pocket Station?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like a weird little memory card.
Kind of like
It has a 32 by
a
32-bit screen that's black and white.
kind of like the
So I wrote
Dreamcast,
this-
just like the Dreamcast, the
Yeah.
VMU. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the Dreamcast.
Yeah, the VMU. VMU.
And I wrote a top-down racer that was basically a triangle going around a track that was supposed to be Wipeout Light. We used to joke about. But because the Pocket Station had an infrared, it was multiplayer. So we'd be in the studio, like 4 of us in this little racer, which was a lot of fun. But then the Pocket Station was never released outside Japan. It was just released as like a test in Japan, so it didn't make it out there. Or I do still have a version of it somewhere. on a Pocket Station, which I'm hoping is worth lots of money now.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the other thing that was funny about the Pocket Station was because of this infrared, it could send infrared, but it could also record it. And the idea was that you could get your home TV remote and record it and then program it. But actually what they discovered was if you stood near a car while somebody was locking or unlocking the car, you could record the infrared signal for that car.
Oh.
People were using it to break into
Wow.
cars.
Oh my goodness.
So that was kind of funny. Anyway, the Wipeout was a big influence on me because I love the game, I love the music, and love the visuals. And actually the people, there was a company called Designers Republic who did all the sort of graphic design around it, and that was a really close friend of mine who'd done that, Mike. And so anyway, they've been a big influence. So when we came to Arca, I wanted to bring some of that influence. So really like the amazing art style, gettable mechanic, and an amazing soundtrack. And so those were three pillars. Once we'd got the mechanic, I put down to the team, said, look, I really think we should do this. And I've got a really good friend who works for Ninja Tune, and he introduced us to this guy, one of their up-and-coming artists called Rafferty, who's written the music for Arca. And as soon as we heard his stuff, the sort of mix of organic and glitchy stuff, we knew that that's what we wanted. And he was great to work with. And then we also found this artist, Anna Holland-Rake, who just won this, or just become part of this BAFTA Breakthrough Brits, so she was being highlighted. So she came and did the amazing pink and green sort of art style. And we used to, early days as well, earlier this year I was joking about it being a game that's not afraid of the colour pink, which I always thought was a good, that was like the alternative tagline, you know. And then getting the simple gameplay, so putting those three things together was like the triangle that we have in Arca, and then the narrative, the story just would run through that. So that was our kind of target, if you like, or our sort of mantra around developing the game.
Yeah. So while you're talking about that particular colour palette, did you choose pastel colours on purpose in the game?
Well, it was Anna. It was Anna, and I think she just came to such a fresh idea of what to do. You know, it wasn't... I mean, there's quite a lot of neon in VR, and there's quite a lot of grit and darkness and sort of scare stuff. So I think it was really... We came with doing a sci-fi fairy tale, and so I think the pink and green represent, you know, the beginning of, I don't know, Jack and the Beanstalk or Cinderella or something like that, but in a more modern context. And then what I was keen for the team to explore was like having a beautiful world to start with that kind of gets a bit messed up. And so that there's an emotional driver for you to try and get it back to being beautiful or getting to the end, because you started in this beautiful place, you kind of want to get it back there. So that was something, I mean, I only ever like threw these ideas at the team and then let them really devour what made sense and what didn't, and build things.
Yeah, man, that's quality. So with the script and the way it's going, Dave, you're next.
I feel like after that my question seems so unexciting. It doesn't have anything to do with nothing to do with David Attenborough. Although you did touch on this a little bit earlier. I wanted to ask about. So I've never seen a VR game get released simultaneously on mobile, console, PC, everything at the exact same time. I can't think of anything else that has done that. So what were the challenges involved in getting everything together to have it all ready to go on the same day for every single platform? Because that's really unusual.
It was hard, right? It was hard because, you know, it's complex for the team. More headsets were being added, so we had a few more to do through that process. Luckily, we'd kind of moved with Rebellion, we'd said, let's just release just before Christmas, so we actually had the time to do it. So that was good. But we didn't really have that much bandwidth on the team. So the sort of 2 or 3 people that were doing that final work of optimizing to get it to run on the mobile headsets and so on did a little bit like of war room fatigue of, oh God, I've got to optimize level 13 again. And so I do feel, you know, they did an amazing job at doing that. One thing I was really pleased about, this sounds silly, but the guy, John Hibbins, who's the guy whose company make Winlands,
on
Facebook, he's the only person who said, hey, well done for releasing on all these platforms.
It's pretty impressive. It's very impressive, honestly.
He's
a
foolish,
not easy.
maybe.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of a release, it means that all the activity can feed into all those different people. And part of the idea was, let's make a game that will run on any headset, and then we've got a bigger audience, you know. And another part of that was also to create something that is a great introduction to VR. So again, like we've released before Christmas, seeing lots of people get headsets for Christmas. So this is a great game for them to get into VR and so on.
Awesome.
Yeah, great answer.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So
you happy with yours?
I was just gonna say, you know, with all that being said, and you mentioned the helmet earlier, what was your first experience with virtual reality?
My first experience was doing a driving game in one of the Sony studios, running at 30 frames a second, and I felt sick for about 8 hours afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And yeah, that was it was a bit unpleasant, but that was in like 2011. Yeah, 2011,
Wow.
I think.
I didn't realize they had started that early.
That's early on, yeah.
Yeah, that is very, very early, and you know, everybody remembers their first moment in VR, so like that's probably not a great memory, but still, you kept it going, and now look at you, you know, it's like really special.
I don't know about you guys, but I actually had vertigo. My first experience of VR, I felt vertigo when I got lifted up.
Oh yeah.
And put into something, and obviously, it's a bit of a weird experience, but it's a good experience because nothing else can make you feel that way, just standing or sitting. So
yeah, my mate was a shark. That PSVR Worlds, like VR Worlds, like that was the one.
Yeah, Ocean Descent is the one I put everybody in for their first one, pretty much.
That's the one I put everyone in.
That's a good start.
yeah, I did actually, but I did
Ocean Descent, and then work your way around the collection because it's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
What about you,
retro
Jimmy?
time.
Did you want to mention that one about the Star Wars thing?
Actually, yeah, because I mean, sound design, that's kind of my thing as well. It's quite good to hear that you're into sound as well.
Yeah.
The sound when the ball goes, it adds to the track as well as obviously the generative sound effects like trigger now and again. But it did sound like the pod racer from episode 1, which I thought was.
Yeah, I really like that sound.
When you say that,
I think it's probably subliminal, but so our sound designer is actually a pretty good drum and bass DJ called Fearful, and he's just released an album. And so he worked with Rafferty. So Rafferty wrote all the music, and then Chris implemented it and the sound, and kind of worked with him on getting it to work through the track.
Yeah,
And
it's
actually,
fantastic.
the music's not. It's not that. It is changing through gameplay, but it also builds up to a crescendo through the level, which is quite interesting as well.
Yeah, like when you cross a bridge, like you get really tension moments when you cross bridges and stuff like that. And, but yeah, no, like it's just the top-notch music, great design for it. But yeah, no, that's cool. Good to hear. Thanks.
So I'd like to ask, it's kind of tradition around here to see, and you may have already answered this with the Pocket device, but what is your favorite all-time console and game?
Oh, it's Mega Drive and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh,
excellent.
Nice.
No hesitation.
That is just, you know. And I've actually, I'm quite good friends with Mark Cerny, who was the lead programmer on Sonic, and designed the PlayStation 4. And I have once been playing video game charades in a room full of developers, and they weren't getting Sonic, and I pointed to Mark, and then they got it.
There you go.
I like that. I like that.
Also,
I like that.
Bandicoot and Knack and a bunch of stuff.
I guess the next question should be, who do you not know?
I don't know, but I do. I'm on this GDC advisory board. You know, GDC, the Game Developers Conference. And so I've been on their advisory board for about 12 years, and so you do meet a lot of people through that, which is great.
Yeah.
We do have... It's great, because every year, the people in the industry send us all their thoughts of what new stuff is, so we can look at it and say, is this worth going in the conference? So you learn a load of stuff. You meet some really interesting people, and you get to mentor the speakers as well, so you meet more people through that.
So I like that, because that kind of passes it on.
Yeah, I find it really, really interesting. It's not like going to work and doing some training. It's like going and meeting some really talented people and then discussing the trends of the industry and what's happening, and you always learn something. There's always some trend that you've missed because it's happening in North America, not in Europe or something like that. And but this year was interesting because we did all these meetings and they took us to Arizona. So I was saying I've been to Arizona, and we went to a cowboy ranch. It was so cool, and I thought I was so nervous beforehand because I thought, oh, I'm going to be a terrible cowboy because I'm just like a nerd. And if you've got, actually I can do this in here, but so if you've got, this is the spectrum of like cool cowboys and nerds, right? I'm definitely over here. Game developers are all pretty much over here, and I'm actually here. Right. So I felt like I was like the coolest cowboy out of the nerds.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
and that was a lot of fun. And just like we'd go cowboy horse riding at 7 in the morning because it's so hot. You have to go early in the morning or late at night. You know, you've got the sun coming up. You've got literally the little fluffy clouds that Ricky Lee Jones talks about in the Orb track, and it was an amazing. And then you go and have a meeting about like super cool video game industry. It was, you know, one of my top trips probably. It was so cool.
Did you actually do any lassoing? Did you do any horse riding?
I didn't do any lassoing, no. I mean, I was pretty proud of myself for riding a horse, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that.
Absolutely. Can we touch back on the control scheme, Jason?
You kind of covered that, but I just wanted to add that it's amazing how accessible the games basically is to anyone that's out there. Like you said, anybody basically starting up, or anybody in a position where they're not able to use their arms to use move controllers or anything else like those too. It's brilliant to appreciate that you guys did that.
Yeah, and I think that's. I mean, it was partly a byproduct, but it's also a lot of the games that we've worked on in the past have been quite accessible. So, SingStar's a great example because actually, you know, you need a voice. You don't need much more. And that brought a whole new audience, you know, of different people who could play SingStar and really enjoy it. But also some of the iToy games as well, you know, they weren't about like very fine-tuned twitch mechanics and so on, or knowing, you know, exactly how to change weapon at a certain time or use a grenade. It was much more about physicality, but in a not a loose sense, but in a kind of, it was more about how much energy you were putting in rather than fine-tuned precision. I think that was really positive.
More playful.
Yeah, more playful, and actually we always feel that it influenced the Wii that came a few years later.
I was just going to say,
absolutely, well,
I was going to mention the Wii, definitely.
Yeah. Well, not only that, the Connecto too as well. Not that we want to talk about Microsoft, but
games.
Yeah.
I thought the Connect was amazing on launch. I was day one.
The Connect was great. It's just ahead of its time, and actually,
and there wasn't any software.
Yeah. But when the Kinect is linked up with VR, that will be pretty impressive.
Hopefully that happens at some point.
Skeletal tracking when you're in VR will
they have
make
done
a
it
big
on PC, I think.
Yeah,
at some point, someone's been tampering with it. I'm sure they have.
Yeah, but it's like it hasn't been made mass market yet. But if you look at, has anyone done like the Void or the Dreamscape?
Oh, not yet. I live about half an hour from the Star Wars Void, and I've been meaning to go down there. I hear great stuff about it.
Yeah, it's good. But it's interesting, if you do the Void, they don't have foot tracking. And if you do it the first time, it's fine. Second time, you kind of notice that your friends are moonwalking a bit because it doesn't know exactly where your feet are. And Dreamscape do put something on your feet so they track that, and it does make a difference. And I think that'll be for, maybe not so much for home VR yet, but in the location-based, seeing full-body avatars working really well, kinetically, makes a big difference to the experience.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat Arizona, to be honest. Arizona's sunshine, that full body.
That was a joke, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I will say Firewall does an incredible job of that. I haven't seen a game that does it as well as Firewall.
Yes.
All on the joystick.
So, Dave, if you don't mind me asking, is there any other games you're currently working on, projects you can share from Dream Reality that you're currently working on?
Well, we released an AR game on iOS last December, and we did an update in April, and there'll be an update coming next year, and that's called Orbu. It's another ball game, and it's like AR where you hold the phone and use it as a camera, but it's basically like a mini golf game, but instead of just ordinary golf, the balls are little characters. Based on Japanese sculptures that are little characters of animals. So there's 4 different animals you can play, So we've done like a mini golf game, but then there's also a painting game and a pairs game and some other things you can do in that. So that's kind of a fun game. It's a little bit lighter than Arca in terms of its tone, and sort of designed for parents and their kids to go and play in a park or something like that.
Yeah.
There's an update of that coming. We're working on another title at the moment that I can't talk about that should be quite interesting, coming out next year, probably second half of next year.
Can you say if there's a ball in it or
We've
not?
also done a bit of work just in like the health space. So we've done some work which is not games, but it's just helping people with anxiety and creating a VR experience where they can practice certain aspects of their life in a safe environment.
That is fantastic.
I love that. I love that idea. That's a great idea.
I've always been talking about. When I first started doing my channel, people messaged me about VR anxiety, and it's weird.
Yeah.
And I understand it because certain experiences I've had. But yeah, that's really good that you're actually touching on that. That's great.
So we do that partly for. I mean, it's good social impact, and it's also we're just learning stuff. VR space is so new. Part of the work we do as a studio is we'll just work on a project if it's interesting, because we'll learn something. So that was a really interesting project. And we're also talking to some people about doing some education, but we haven't started that yet. But I'm quite interested in using VR in education as well, because I think health and education are two really interesting spaces where it can add a lot of value to the world. And at the same time, we'll learn some stuff as well. So, why not?
And you can make some serious money out of it, because if you, and I'm just being honest, like if you have a certain company say, teach me, like I work on the railway, if you could, safety is everything. If you can actually take someone out, like you can't, it's hard to teach people what it's going to be like when trains are running. You know what I mean? How to prepare for that, to step over that electricity cables. And so if you could do that in virtual reality, that would make a massive impact on safety. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the next step. It's as close as you can get without being out there.
Yeah, well, we're not making loads of money yet, but anyway. I mean, we're doing.
I just hope it goes that way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I think that it's going to take a while for the VR market to mature. It's been like there's this massive explosion to start with, and then you get the trough of disillusionment, which I kind of wasn't surprised by. I didn't think it would just everyone would get a headset instantly.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's growing steadily, which is really good. But I still think it will be a while before there's like serious money and so on in it, but 3-4 years I think we'll be in a pretty good shape, and I'm happy about that. Bit of banging upstairs.
There's somebody
as a quick side question to that, having been in the business for a while, do you feel like the market is stronger in consumer VR or in that kind of like health and business? I'd assume it's health and business, but
I think consumer VR is very exciting, but it's hard
to sell much of anything.
It can be hard for companies to guarantee to get the money back. Yeah. Whereas I think in sort of the health and business, it can like you were saying with training, it can probably instantly it can be fairly easy to demonstrate that this work will save X over 3 years. Yeah. It's kind of easier to get into, but I suspect the entertainment bit in 4 or 5 years will be a bigger market.
Makes sense.
But I don't really know that much about that.
Yeah. So, Jason, did you want to take over? Did you want to do the art style question that we had?
Oh yeah, the one that Danish had there. Yeah. The art style of the game is simply beautiful, and the contrast between the scrap metal junkyard vibe.
Hey, Professor, if you just tuned in, we're interviewing the developer of Arca's Path. This guy is incredibly interesting.
On my face, and was actually happy.
Go back and watch the beginning.
That dump.
Because he's super interesting.
Was he looking for an emotional reaction? Were you looking for an emotional reaction from players with a sudden shift in the environment? I'm sorry, that was somebody else's question. I'm just trying to read it.
He knows the guy who made Sonic and the PS4. This guy is crazy, and he's a doctor. He's awesome.
Big inspiration from Slumdog Millionaire. Have you seen that?
Brilliant. Yeah.
And these kids are on the scrap heap, and the guy comes over with this amazing, like a cold bottle of Coca-Cola, and then takes them off somewhere that's much nicer. So it was like it's just a simple experience, and it's also a kind of classic fairy tale metaphor as well, isn't it? That kind of in this not a brilliant life, and somebody comes over with an offer that's too good to be true, and it actually is too good to be true. So there was a bit of that in there as well.
Excellent.
But there's a conscious decision to have no dialogue, no text, and to try and take you on an purely emotional journey that was simple to follow the story, not too taxing, but also it's like easily gettable. And then the other interesting part was bringing in the graphic novel style and the movement, which I think, I'd love to do more in that space. I think we did a good job of doing that well to start with, but I think there's a million more things you could do to expand how that works.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah. So, I love how the levels reveal themselves as you navigate through the environment. Was this always the vision for how the levels were structured, or was there earlier iterations with the entirety of the environment being visible at a distance?
There's some technical challenges of having the whole level there being drawn, so it certainly helps us with that. So it was a balance between how big the levels could be and how much fogging you might put in, and it's basically a different technique to putting fogging in, which is what you used to do for draw distance. And we thought it was a more interesting thing because it kind of showed you the path, which felt in tune with the story and the name and so on. But we had a few creative solutions to a sort of traditional game development problem.
Well, I thought it was really interesting specifically because in VR you see a lot of pop-in, and usually it takes you out of the experience, but you guys folded it into the experience, which is such a great idea.
Which
like, it works, it really works
That was kind
well.
of the idea. It's like just do it face on.
Turn a weakness into a strength, essentially,
Yeah. Thanks.
Like Silent Hill 2, do you remember that? That had a lot of fog.
And that was, and if it didn't have fog, it wouldn't have been nearly as scary, so perfect.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's Dave.
Oh, yeah. So you brought it up a little bit earlier when you were talking about the graphic novel style, but I really liked the cutscenes that you guys did have, because I haven't seen much in VR that kind of takes that comic book panel style and, situates you in an environment where that's happening and progressing. And I thought that was really an interesting way to do that. Where did you guys get that idea, and have you seen any other stuff like that inspired you, or...
That was really Albert, who was like the main creative. He had this idea of that, and actually I thought it was quite a big risk, because for a long time we talked about the art style in the game and the art style, out in the story bits. How do we get them to feel like it's one game? And I think we've done a pretty good job of that, even though, like you said, it's the scrap heap versus the kind of beautiful environment. But nevertheless, there is some kind of continuity, and I think the big win for me with the graphic novel style was like having the movement and the depth.
Yeah,
so
that's fantastic.
It wasn't literally just like floating panes. They're actually moving, and you've got the 3D depth in them, and the way that kind of crossed over into sort of the game world at times. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that. I think it's a really good idea.
It was quite challenging for the team to get that to work properly, just like technically and creatively. We iterated on it quite a bit until we got to that place where we were pretty happy.
Awesome. So I'll go ahead and ask my question here. I really like how you guys added the ghost feature, where you can kind of like race yourself in a way. It gives that layer of like replayability for me that makes me want to keep trying and go again and again and see if I can kind of beat it in a way. But you guys have any intention or plan on like adding like race your friends ghosts, or like a leaderboard feature, or anything like that in the works, or any ideas behind that?
I think we'd love to do that, and if we get enough people playing, I think we'll try and build that in.
That'd be cool.
But it was just like, it was a bit of bang for buck. We're going for all these different headsets. We wanted to get enough of the game in there. So then we thought, well, if we put the time trials in, we put the ghost ball, that kind of gives a flavour of that. And if we get some traction, then we'll go back and add some stuff.
Yeah, definitely worth thinking about, for sure. But I love how it is in there now. It's like you're racing yourself. You just want to do better and better. It's already a great feature.
Thanks.
Adding to that, do you have any planned updates or DLC planned for Arcas?
Not directly. I think to be honest, the market is, as we've said, it's still fairly nascent. So we'll just see how it performs and see if we build a fan base. We'd love to engage and do more and make it more of a community, and hopefully that will grow from now. But we're kind of going to wait and see a bit and just see how we get on, see what the reception's like.
Nice, excellent.
Okay.
GC?
Did we lose him? I think we lost him. Cannon.
His hands are moving.
Hold on, how many fingers am I holding up?
Check.
Trick question, it's just a big flat
there
hand.
He is.
It's a big flat hand, okay.
He's back in the room.
I'm sorry, didn't bear.
I hope he's... No, he's... I don't think that he...
No,
someone's a bear.
My thing flickered for a minute, we're good. So tell us the answer to the killer question we all have. What shape is that ball exactly? Is it a dodecahedron?
I've got no idea.
Like
you gotta ask Artemis. You're gonna have to ask Artemis on that one.
I'll ask Artemis. Yeah.
It's a D20, that's what it is. It's a D20.
Everyone
knows it's a D20.
That's the real puzzle.
I'm sure we
There's
could
a PS5 coming soon, Dave. What features would you like to see on the like the PSVR 2 headset?
Updated move controllers.
Yeah.
Always in every box. I'd definitely like to see that. The rubber bit just itches my nose all the time.
Right.
So
Sorry.
Quite. I wish it was. I actually, in terms of just putting a headset on, I really like the Oculus Go because it just slips on. It's actually very comfortable.
Oh yeah, it's great.
A bit more, lightweight. Full room thing. 2 cameras.
Yeah.
I don't know what sensors they're working on. Not there
anymore. Do you think
anymore,
any of that will
a bit
come?
more. I'm sure they'll do something with the move controllers because they've got old USB on them.
Yeah,
So I'm sure
unless you buy new ones, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit tricky that there's no analog stick. So it would be great if they could put an analog stick on at least on one of them. The other big frustration for me actually is we call it the frostrum, but the cone that comes out of the camera. So if you use some of the other systems where you've got 2 sensors, you don't have this kind of area that the move controllers get lost in.
Right.
So those are the sorts of things I'd be looking for.
I think it's more likely that we'd probably see inside-out tracking than multiple camera setups because that makes it more, it heightens the barrier to entry. Nobody wants to put 3 cameras in their living room, so.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think I think you're right. We probably will get that. Would be great, and wireless would be great as well.
Yeah.
That's the Quest. The Quest has got both of those features, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Even the Lenovo
Focus, the
Mirage
Focus
has
as well
it too.
Yeah, the Focus.
Wow.
Is great,
Have you tried the Quest, Dave?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the challenge with the Quest is it's great, but you've not got the processing power of the PC. So you've kind of got all the features of the high-end sets, but you've got the processing of a bit more than a mobile phone. So it's all about optimization. But the principle of it is there, and that, for me, I think it will be the Quest 2 or the Oculus Go 2 that will be the tipping point. It might be 2020 or 2021 or whatever, where it's it's a pretty good price as well for the Quest, I've got to say.
I was just going to say, the Go was crazy. Towards, run up to Christmas, it's been so cheap to get a Go.
The Go's under $200 right now.
Yeah, so that's the same over here, 160.
And the Quest will be $400 that box, so that's really great for the type of tracking you're working with.
Yeah. So I think that it's very aggressive on the hardware front, and things are getting a lot better. The usability of the Go and the Quest is really, compared to 2 years ago when you're plugging in so many wires and things. It's you really need to be a radio ham buff from the 1940s, or an early photography fiend where you need to know so much stuff, but it's getting so usable now. You can put the Go in a minute, you're in VR doing something. You've not got any wires, you just, it's super simple. So I think we're getting there, It's like the difference between an old desktop PC that needs a while to load up and so on, and say an iPad or a tablet where you just switch it on and instantly you're using a computer. So I feel like that friction is disappearing, which is great, and they're making really good improvements. I think eye tracking would be great as well. I don't know if we'll get that on the next PSVR, but that's a great feature that will come in the next 2 or 3 years, because there's a lot you can do with eye tracking.
I do believe that Sony will invest in another headset, without a doubt, because
for sure.
I still think we are the biggest selling.
Absolutely, by a mile. PSVR is by a mile.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the price of it now is incredible.
Like, $250 for a bundle? Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
5 games, isn't it? Is it the mega bundle?
Yeah.
Not in the US. We don't have one in the US, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not like that.
What deals have
you guys get the better deals.
We've got the Super Hot and the Moss and Astrobots, and then we have
there's
the
a
new
Borderlands
one,
bundle.
Borderlands
Yeah.
Save. That's the big
Oh
one.
man, that is the bundle I'd buy though. If I was
That
walking
is
past the shop,
definitely, yeah.
Beat
Oh, yeah.
Saber and Borderlands in a box in
Yeah.
virtual reality.
It's not a
That's
bad deal.
It's an amazing start. Dave, so you're to finish, man.
Oh yeah, so we
money.
pretty much always talk about the Sony QA process, but I feel like you'd probably have a different take on it because you actually worked at Sony for 17 years. So everybody has kind of a different experience going through that. Some people it's really smooth to get through. Other people it's been kind of troubling to go through Sony's QA process because it can be pretty rigorous, it sounds like. So I was just wondering what your guys' experience was with that.
Yeah, I mean, we led development on PlayStation because it's got the hardest QA process.
Yeah.
So if you get through that, the others will be easy. That's the theory. I mean, I have been through QA a million times with different games, and sometimes it's a breeze, and sometimes some little thing gets you at the last minute, and then you have to wait. And it's all about getting these different slots. And if you're going for a Christmas release, and suddenly some, FIFA or some massive title comes in, you're kind of it's really hard to get another slot. So there's a bit of roulette that goes on titles when you're getting close to the end.
You can't just say, "Hey, I used to work here, guys. Come on."
You can't say that, no, but
I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, listen.
There's various things. You can do things like you can get them to test early. You can do a longer beta so you're more confident about your bug count. I mean, there's a bunch of different things you can do. They do consultancy for VR titles. You can go to them and say, "Well, give us an idea of how good or bad we are with this," and so the main thing is to go eyes wide open, give yourself as long as possible, and give them as much information about the title as possible, and early builds and so on, and get feedback.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, because like Windlands 2 has been on PSVR now for quite a while, and I played it back in April, and it still hasn't come out to PSVR. So I'm assuming that's all down to the Q&A process and the optimization.
Well, especially for a game like Windlands too. I mean,
it depends. There might be marketing deals and things
pretty
like
intense.
that. They might be waiting for a big Christmas push or something like that. So
maybe. Have you played Windlands 2, Dave?
I haven't. I don't have a PC set up. I played the first one a decent amount, but.
So Windlands 2, man, they're really trying to do some stuff with that, and I didn't know whether that was the.
Looks
reason.
incredible.
I didn't know
Yeah.
whether it was QA. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, thank you ever so much. Unless anyone else has got some. God Cannon has God Cannon.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
He's just adjusting his headset.
It was really nice to meet you, though, and it's really cool to hear. I really enjoyed your background, how you started, and big fan of Lemmings and Destruction Derby, and especially Colony Wars. If you still got your Cyanosis contacts, definitely tell them that Colony Wars in VR is something that I hear left and right. There's a big fan base
good idea,
behind that game still.
Yeah.
So what games were on the Amiga? Because Subgnosis was on the Amiga as well. I remember the loading screen.
Yeah, there's a few
I
in there.
think that was Lemmings. Probably mainly Lemmings. Actually, maybe
Lemmings.
Wipeout was on the Amiga.
Was there one called Beast? Beast?
Yeah, Shadow of the
Yeah,
Beast.
Shadow of the Beast.
Yeah.
That's on PS4.
Yeah, they
Really?
Yeah, reboot. Yeah.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah,
It's really good.
Oh, ideal. Well, yeah, cool. Thank you ever so much for visiting us today on the PSVR
Thank
Chat
you.
Show.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you,
for
Dave.
making
Been a
this
real honour.
wonderful landscape. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really
Oh, you got to give all the thanks
Good
to
job,
these
Dorky.
folks over here,
Well,
Zelix,
do it.
Dorky.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Jason.
Easy builders, man.
Jason.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
get a quick
I'm
picture with
getting the camera.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Oh,
the camera.
here we go. The requisite selfie.
One job.
Okay, who's gonna wear
always
the
remind me.
visor? Where's the visor?
Yeah, let's put it on Dave.
What
Do
you
we
think?
have the visors
You think we
around here?
Should we
Not
do it
one
with
in
the
here.
Arca sign behind us?
Wait, there's only one in the
sign
first
would be
room?
good,
Yeah.
Yeah, the sign right here.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
beautiful.
Oh wow, there's a big one.
So good.
Come on, we've got 21 seconds to go, guys.
There's
Come on.
one.
21 seconds to
What
go.
are you talking about?
I'll wear the big
What do you
one.
mean 21
Oh,
seconds?
no, it's...
Oh, thank you. You're incredible. What a magician. We got a magician over here. Do you want to wear it? You won't be able to see anything, but you can grab it and put it on your face, and it'll just kind of sit there.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Are you trying to get
oh.
his...
It's not sitting right.
I'll get it.
Did you print one out for
Thank you, Tommy.
It might be too big, actually. It's kind of on your face. There it is.
Can't.
Excellent.
Okay. Let me shrink it down just a little bit more.
Dave, don't let Dorky do it.
Oh, I'm not touching anything. No, I'm not touching anything.
Oh. Okay. Hold on 1 second.
There we go. We don't need that one.
Hey, on my face.
Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second. You got your ignore bubble one.
It could be the cat, maybe. Cat might be causing issues.
Excellent. Okay, so you can't see it, but it looks incredible. I guarantee it.
He's going to walk straight off the edge. See you later, guys.
I think we're going to have to move the selfie over to where Dave is.
You should probably move it over.
All right.
You can't see.
Dr. Dave, follow my voice.
What do you want me to do? I love my chair.
We're coming to you.
This chair is lovely.
I'll
move the camera
at the beginning for how much you just like, oh, I love my chair.
Oh, look at this chair. It's amazing.
I noticed in the middle of the interview, you just looking at your own chair. Just caressing your chair.
Like the whole half the time he was doing it.
Okay. This is an amazing chair. It feels so comfy.
Liv, can you get it over there?
So
this is kind of all facing...
This is God
Yeah, we're
Cannon
facing forward.
with everyone else. Everyone with God Cannon.
There we go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the PSVR chat show hosted by PSVR Underground. We'll just wipe that off real.
All right, looks good.
Dr. Dave, you're gonna want to look to your left just a little bit.
There it is. Perfect. Beautiful.
I'm stuck on something.
Excellent. Let me duck down. Okay.
There.
All right, I think we got it.
All right, I think I'm just going to be off to the side on this one.
Hold on. Okay, I'm getting over Justin.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect, man.
It's just as hard as in real life.
Are we ready?
All right. 3, 2, 1.
1.
Arca's path.
Cheese.
Arca's path.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Let's see how it came out.
All right. There's a shirt on RecNet.
Nice.
I want to see it.
Are you gonna print it?
Thank you, Dr. Dave.
You gotta print it out.
Okay, guys,
snatch.
I'm going to sign out now because it's like 11:30.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Well,
no.
thank you.
Oh yeah, thanks for tuning in.
This is really nice.
Here's a picture of yourself in the visor there.
Cool.
All the pictures we take on here will go if you log in on rec.net.
How do I get this in the real world?
If you log into rec.net, yeah, I'll send you a link on where to get them. Actually, that'll make it easier for you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming. Have a good night.
Thank
Right,
you.
don't take the picture with you.
You won't be able to.
It's just flying.
That's a good one. I think that's one of our best pictures here.
I agree.
He's all-
I think so too.
Wow, that is awesome.
Dr. Dave Jr.
Who's that?
Look at Jason. Woo! He's got his fingers pointing everything like a gangster. God Cannon's got his thumb up and everything. That is fantastic.
Man, that guy was so interesting. Like, that was by far... I felt bad asking questions because I wanted to let him talk. I was like, dude, I don't even need to ask you a question after the first one.
I was like, dude, you should be excited about this, man. That's like the start of it.
J.K. Rowling, David Attenborough, Mark Cerny.
J.K. Rowling.
I couldn't do the Attenborough under pressure. That was dangerous pressure right there.
Under pressure.
Wait, okay, so wait, now that he's gone, can we hear your David Attenborough? Because, I mean, he's gone.
Yeah, now. He's gone now, yeah.
Come on.
And here we are in
I've
the
stopped
midst
recording
of
too.
PSVR chat show in Arca's path.
That's incredible.
Unusually empty, but today rather crowded.
That is pretty
Can't
good.
do it. I'm not
Okay,
doing it for someone
guys.
who's has dinner with a gang, because that was just killer, man.
No,
That
but
was killer.
he's seen the
There
real
we
thing,
go.
and he'll be able to tell how good your impersonation is.
I can't get out. I can't get out.
That's incredible,
It's hard
though.
you've not got anything to speak about. It's hard because it's
I
quite.
took a picture. I'll send it to you.
All right, so everybody,
animal to talk about.
everybody in chat, go subscribe to Jimith, because he's going to do every stream from now on in that David Attenborough voice, and he told me that, and that's a guarantee. So if you subscribe to Jimith, every single stream is going to be
Are you saying that's a
entirely.
guarantee from Jimith?
It's a guarantee. That's what he just told me, guys.
All right.
That's what he just
I'll
told
be
me.
very
So
disappointed if this doesn't happen.
if it doesn't happen, you can just stay subscribed and see if it happens eventually, and you'll be fine.
All right.
Oh, I'm flying again.
And we got Jimmy doing.
Oh no! Dude, honestly, I would have done it, but there was nothing to talk about, and I couldn't think, and I was like, I'm not doing it for him. He's had tea with the man, like he's had stories. I can't do it.
He answered so much already. It's hard to see. Because I guess like, what is he answering already?
I was giving up for it, then I'm back to it, man.
Justin, you're having a good time up there.
Don't worry, man.
What's up, Justin? Hey!
There was more music, but we never got time to put it in. So it'll probably run at some point.
How do you turn off your collision thing?
Whoa, Zelix. You're like a face ship.
Or do you have the
You're like swimming through the ground. You're like a face ship.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a settings experience.
I'm swimming. I'm swimming.
Oh,
Look at him.
I'm tired of...
Hey, man, what is that? You're level 29. You should know this stuff.
What's going on here?
I usually like my personal...
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. I knew
This
he was going to
stage
go
is
for one
beautiful.
with the loveliness of the story and
What is
it's
that
quite hard when
underneath?
you've got someone who's had
you
to
tried to tell me
parts.
some of the stories yesterday. I just was in my head was just like, and I'm like, she's like,
a nice guy, but he
Good
knows
stories.
a lot. He knows a lot.
All right,
man.
catch you guys later. Thank you so much for
Matt.
tuning in for another episode
Can I
of the
just say something,
PSVR
guys?
chat
He was playing
show.
VR in 2011.
Everybody here has been great.
Yeah, I
That
know,
developer
I'm
is so
jealous,
interesting.
but
Check out
I
Arca's
think I'm
Fat
okay
Guys.
with not
I don't know if
having
you can
30
hear me
frames
over
per
all these
second.
motherfuckers.
Second, yeah,
Just kidding. I love these guys. They're great. But yeah,
I'm okay with where it's come.
yeah, that was yet another good developer interview. Maybe
I
the
think
best
going
one
back in, he was
I've been a
probably
part
like, do I
of,
have to?
honestly. And thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to wrap up the stream. So if you want to see a different perspective of this, it was also streamed on a ton of other people's channels. And then I think eventually we might start editing these down into like a
I've only had
legit,
VR since
multiple
2013.
camera angle talk show kind of deal. So keep an eye out for that.
man, only had VR
It's
since
going to be great.
last year.
Got us beat by 5 years.
So catch you
Have you
guys
been
later.
on
Have a
here
good rest of your day.
at all?
And
The
I'll
first
probably
time I
see you in
played VR was in
Borderlands later, to be
1996.
totally honest.
And it was inside
I'm
one,
sure I
it was
will.
in one of those booths that
I
you
am
have to
Jason,
stand
yeah.
in with a massive
Let's
head
get one for
Yeah.
Jason
I
here,
was
too. He's the
going
producer
to
behind this whole
those.
thing.
It looked
And it was
amazing.
just
Jason the
though.
Livinator. The man who makes it all happen.
If you see the film Hackers,
God, these
the
guys
bad
are
guy
chatty.
Hackers has one
So
in his
chatty.
house.
All right, see you guys later.
Shut up.